What's up, guys? It's been a while since I put a post on here. I noticed I'm getting more views on You Can Fix It than I do on any of my other channels. So this is not going to be very difficult, and I'm sure anybody could do it. Well, not anybody. So everybody needs a little instruction. What we got here is a 2009 Toyota rav4. I got this thing for about 2,500 bucks. What I'm going to do today is show you how to change the transmission filter and flush the transmission on it. Fairly simple, but like I said, everybody needs a little instruction, so let's get started. Okay, so let's see what we got going here. Obviously I jacked it up on this side and supported it a good old redneck way with some 6x6 blocks. So I got it up off the ground, which is your first step. I don't recommend using 6x6 blocks. I would use jack stands. They don't cost that much, but I don't have any here. They're at my buddy's shop, and I ain't got time to go get them. Okay, so let's start with telling you what you need. I'm pretty sure, unless I find out different along the way, because I have never done this, all you're going to need is a small ratchet, a 10mm socket, a flathead, and if I'm not mistaken, 10mm metric Allen wrench. I think it's a 10. We'll see. I will show you as I go. And of course I'm going to use an impact, but I mean, you don't have to have an impact. You can do it manually if you'd like. And the first thing we're going to do, oh yeah, and of course you need a oil drain pan to catch the fluid. But first thing we got to do is take this guard off. You can't get anything until you get that off. So as you can see, they are 10mm bolts. Let's make sure I'm right. 10mm bolts. All right, I'm going to take those out with the impact. I don't have a cameraman, so I'm the one-man stand here. So what I'm going to do is put you on a stand and kind of give you a good angle, and you can watch me work. All right, let's try that. 10mm. Set this thing on high. I don't know if it'll break them loose or not. I might have to break them loose manually first and then impact them. Maybe my stitching won't be long enough. Too long on me. Okay. One at a time. Yeah, let's start in the back. That way, it's not falling down in my way as I'm taking it out. Okay. Okay, first thing I'm seeing in the back here, guess we need one more tool, and luckily I have one. You can use a flathead for this, but I recommend using the right tool for the right job always. And you'll need one of these, which is, they're called push pins, I believe. It's a push pin remover, and you've got a few of those to get out. You'll be able to see them once you get under here, so there's no need in me showing you where they all are. It's pretty self-explanatory once you crawl under here and start looking. Some of these are not push pins. I see they're what I call Christmas trees, because they got little ridges. They look like little Christmas trees. Yeah, there they are. A few of those. So I'm gonna get all those out first. More push pins in the back here. That's kind of greasy. Imagine that. Come on out of there, baby. That's what, 3? Another one. That's 4. I think that's all of them. Okay. Now let's get her impact. Take all the 10mm bolts out. Don't see any in the back. That's good. Let's start right here. One. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll all be in the front. Oh, it looks like the one on this splash guard is holding this. That's 2. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4. That's it. 7 bolts. Hey, look, a miscellaneous part. Guess we'll figure out where that went later. I think it goes. It covers the starter ground. Not sure. Oh, look, there's another one. Who knows? That's what you get when you buy a used car and fix it up and sell it. Which is one of my pastimes. Okay. All right, let me bring you over here. Okay. Let's give you a switch. Now that all this is exposed, as you can see, this is your transmission pan. These are 10mm bolts. They are not very tight at all and do not need to be very tight. I will reiterate that when I go to put it back on so you'll know. All right, first thing we got to do is take this drain plug out, and I think that's a 10mm Allen. Let's make sure. Could be wrong. Could be a size under. Not sure. I'm trying to give you a good shot of what I'm doing here. And it is a 10mm Allen. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Let me get a good. It was not tight, and it was not supposed to be, so that's good. Woo! Starting to trip already. All right. So here, let's keep this going. Set you down right there and show you how much of a mess I can make. I don't know. As you can see, this fluid is black as night, and that is not good. Transmission fluid is supposed to be red. Well, at first that scared me, because generally that would mean that the cooler pump in the transmission is not functioning, and that means it's cooking, and that means that the transmission is not going to last long. But what I found out by doing a transmission fluid flush in my 2013 Corolla is that that's just a Toyota trait. If you don't change the fluid and the filter in your Toyota every 30,000 miles, it will turn black. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they run hotter than other vehicles. I don't know. I mean, the motor doesn't run hotter than other vehicles, but maybe the transmission does. I have no clue. That's neither here nor there. The point is, change it every 30,000 miles or you'll be sorry. Okay, I need it right. All right, well, I'm going to give that some time to drain out. And you should too. So I will be back in a second. Okay, this thing will drip until the cows come home if you wait on it. So you might as well just go ahead and get ready to get messy, because I mean, like I said, you can just keep waiting on it and waiting on it and waiting on it, but the transmission fluid's so thin that it'll just keep running out forever. So I'm going to put the plug back in because the bulk of it is out now. Where's my rag go? Out. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take most of the bolts out. I suggest pulling out like all of them except for the ones on the corners or something, so that when you're ready to take it down, it's a fairly quick process. Okay, there are a bunch of these bolts. So also I want to add while I'm doing this that the reason I don't edit my videos, I want you to see how long it takes in real time and see that I'm not sugarcoating anything, because I mean, the problem with most YouTube videos is they don't, you know, when people edit stuff, you know, what you don't see is the problems they run into, and they make it look way easier. So then when you go to do it and you run into those same problems that they didn't show you because they wanted it to look easier, like they were just these awesome mechanics, then you run into that stuff and you're like, well, man, this guy made it look so easy and it didn't take no time. That's because he turned the camera off and did all the hard stuff and then turned it back on. Well, I'm not going to do that, because I want you to see it for what it is. This is real man's work. This ain't sugarcoating nothing. Or real women's work. Not to say a man is the only one that can do it. It's just a phrase. You notice one thing that I'll point out. I hope you can see the blue around the threads there. That is blue Loctite, and you will definitely want to put that back on when you reinstall this, because four-cylinder engines are high revving engines. They turn lots of RPMs most of the time, and anytime you got high RPMs, you got a lot of vibration, and when you got a lot of vibrations, things fall out, and you can't tighten these bolts but so tight. It's like, I'm not even gonna quote how many foot-pounds of torque it is, because it's not much. It's like 8 maybe. It's not much, because you're tightening into aluminum, and aluminum's real soft and it will strip. But, well, I hope I'm not going to run into a problem right here, because I see something that may be an issue. See, this is what I'm talking about. Things that you wouldn't know that you're going to run into unless I was videoing this in real time. Some of these bolts here are up under this support, so what that tells me is this support's going to have to come off to get to them. Fortunately, it looks like that's not a problem. I don't think so, because there are two large bolts here that, if I had to guess, I'd say were around 18 millimeter, and two more here that bolt this support on right here. The only other thing attached to it is this plastic guard on this side, which is just one push pin right here, so that should come off fairly easy, but I can tell that it has to come off. So let's do that now. Grab my socket set. I said I think it's an 18 millimeter. Let's see if it is. There's an 18. 18 fits. Let's make sure it fits good. Nope, it's a 17. Just because the socket fits on there, if it's loose at all, then it's not the right one. Okay. Let me, first I'm going to take this push pin out. Wow, it's starting to look like it's going to rain on me. I hope not. Push pin is out. That plastic guard there. I'll just kind of push it to the side. There we go. As long as it stays out of the way, it's the main thing. Okay, that's extremely tight. So check this out. If you don't have an impact, most people doing this in their yard will not have an impact. What I do is take a socket, put it on the end of a long extension, and slip it onto the end of your ratchet like so. It gives you a pull handle. If you don't have a steel bar laying around, you can slide on it. But lefty loosey, righty tighty, and look at that. How hard would that have been without an impact or without leverage? Oh, Charles Atlas, give me a lever large enough and I can move the world. Wow, that one's really tight. Sometimes you got to put a foot on something, don't you? Oh, I'm not going to pretend that was easy. It was not. Wow. I do have a large impact I could do this with, but I think it would be just as quick for me to do it like this than it would for me to go get it. Well, looky there. Look what I found. Okay, I wonder how old that is. Hold my beer. I find that funny. And that's an open container, right? Oh. It's a pretty good ticket. I think as long as it's not accessible, it's not a charge. Okay. I got them broke loose. Oh, it's going to take forever. Okay, now that I have them broke loose, I believe I can use my small impact to take them out. That was really long. Did not expect that. Look at that guy. And there it is. Now I can get to these bolts here. Set all this stuff to the side right here. And this thing is dripping and making a mess, but that's okay. Real mechanics get dirty. Okay, now I can take the rest of these bolts out. That's all the bolts except for the ones on the corners. Now, let's see if we can do this without making a super mess anyway. You know, if it gets, you're gonna spill a little bit. Probably could do this better if you had a bigger, larger oil pan, but I mean, I'd do somewhere, you know, a little bit on the ground's not gonna hurt. As long as you're not dumping gallons of it, I don't think it'll be too bad. Okay, so most likely I'm not going to guarantee, but I can almost guarantee that this pan is not going to go anywhere when you pull all the bolts out of it, because it's sealed to the transmission pretty good. Especially this vehicle's got 230,000 miles on it. And I can almost guarantee that the transmission filter and transmission fluid has never been changed in this thing. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Watch it fall. No, he's not going anywhere. That, my friend, is why I said you would need a flathead screwdriver, because you're going to have to pry this thing off here. Not that it'll be hard. It's just, let me make sure I got all the bolts. All the bolts, all the bolts, all the bolts, all the bolts. Yeah, got them all. Okay. Just like so. Okay. Looky there. I didn't even spill a drop. That's amazing. Yeah. That was much better than waiting for 2 hours for all that to drip out. I don't know about you, but I don't have time for that kind of thing. Time is precious in my world. Set your pan to the side. Okay, so now first thing I'm going to do, and I advise you to do, come over here, is inspect your pan. You're looking for metal shavings. I don't really see anything real bad. There's a little speck of something right there, but it's nothing severe. Really, I just see gray goo. That's okay. Now you've got these right here. These will move because they're not attached. They are magnets, and they're supposed to be there. So don't flip out and go, oh, there's big chunks of metal in the bottom of my pan. No, those are supposed to be there. They didn't come out of the transmission, and they catch any metal shavings that may collect in the bottom of the pan and keep it from circulating through the pan. Now, what I'm going to do is run some gas through this pan and wash it out real good. Then spray it out with a hose and some water, and then run a little bit more gas through it to evaporate the water. I don't know if it'll evaporate it, but it'll at least get most of it out of there. Okay, and then let me see. We've got to change this gasket. I don't know how hard it'll be to get off here. It shouldn't be that hard. It should come off fairly easy. Just like so. It's hard to do with one hand. Look, I'm gonna set you back down. Okay, hang on, I'll fix the angle. Alright. Let me do a little surgery here. Remove this gasket. Back up so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. It's a rubber gasket you can use. Some transmission pans have cork gaskets, which I don't like. Prefer rubber gaskets. The new filter will come with this gasket, so you can trash this. Just throw it to the side for now. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute, but all I'm going to do is pour some gas in this pan, kind of slosh it around like you're panning for gold, dump it out, spray it out with a water hose, then pour a little more gas into it to get all the remnants of water out of it, dump that, and wipe all this off all the way around it, kind of decent light. I may hit it with a little wire brush. I might show you all that here in a minute, actually. I'll get the video back on by the time of that. All I'm doing now is cleaning this pan. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Alright, I have done what I just said I would do. I rinsed it out with gas and kind of took my finger and helped dissolve the grease that was on top of those magnets with the gas on them. Because the cleaner those are, the more metal they'll catch. And I cleaned this thing out pretty good. Yeah, that's just grease. Okay, I was just making sure that wasn't debris. It's not debris. I don't think. Is it? No, it's not. Okay. I'm gonna clean this off on the outside. I thought about wire brushing this, but I don't think it's necessary. I mean, the gasket that's going on, it's rubber, and it's just gonna mush and heat up and seal against it. It'll be just fine. It's not gonna, as long as you get the grease off of it. And it's fairly dry. That's all that matters. Yeah, let me set you back down. Do nothing with one hand. Okay. Yeah. Just get it fairly clean like so. There. Voila. Oh, piece of a leaf. Get that out of there. Get out of there. Okay. Alright. Set that off to the side. Like so. Okay. Next move. Remove the old transmission filter. Alright, let's get you in a good shot for that. I think it's like 4 bolts. I don't know. We'll see. Here, let's set you right there. All right. I'm not going to use the impact on this because I don't like it. It's just, you know, you got things threading up inside the transmission. You don't want to put a lot of jarring and fast motion friction. I just don't like it. It could create metal shavings. So we're just going to, by hand, loosen these bolts. They're 10mm as well. They're really long, but the threads aren't really long. And I was wrong. They're not 4 of them. There are 3 of them. Okay. Remove those. And don't worry, it's not going to fall out either. It's got a rubber seal that holds it, rubber O-ring actually, that holds the gasket up in there. Right. Let's just drop that right there. I need my rag. My rag is good. You really shouldn't do this without gloves on. Transmission fluid in your skin is not good. But I don't do it very often, so I'm not worried about it that much. But if you did this every day, you would definitely want to use gloves and keep this stuff off your skin. You may not think it's that bad for you, but I knew a guy, he's passed away now, God rest his soul, named Gator. He owned Gator Transmissions in Jasper. And by the end of his career, he was the best transmission guy I ever knew, by the way. By the end of his career, if I'm not mistaken, he only had like 2 fingers left on this hand and 3 left on this hand. And he lost all those digits to gangrene from not using gloves and rebuilding transmissions. So that's why I say you really want to use gloves to do this. I knew I was going to make a mess. Not too bad. There we go. But, I mean, if you only do this 5 times in your whole life, then it's not really going to matter that much. But if you do this on the regular and plan on making a career of it, I suggest using gloves and never getting fluids on your hand, on your skin. Can't be good. Alright, let's see. I do some of this. I knew I would get messy. It was inevitable. I tried to stay clean, but it did not happen. And now I have transmission fluid on everything. I love it. Okay. The rubber seal that I spoke of, or O-ring actually, is right here. Right here. Need to remove that. Okay. Now, you may ask, why don't you run some fluid through it and flush all that out of there? Well, it's because it's not that serious. It's flushing that little bit of residual old fluid out is not going to make that big a difference in the performance, in the longevity of life of this transmission. It's not worth it, in other words. Okay. You hear me wrestling around. I'm getting the new filter, gasket, and O-ring out of the box. This thing was $26. So, oh yeah, I remember now. Can't do it like that. All right, put the new O-ring on the new filter. Like so. And anytime you install an O-ring in anything, no matter what it is, you want to coat it in whatever fluid that it goes against. Anytime. Of course, unless it's an AC line, then you coat it in, I don't know, petroleum jelly, anything like that. All right. Just kind of work it back up in there, like so. Put a bolt back in one side. Start putting them back. Now, I'm sure, I mean, I know that there's some torque spec on this, and you know, a professional anal retentive mechanic would look the torque spec up and use a $200 torque wrench and tighten this to torque specs of blah 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 pounds, which is probably who knows. If I had to guess, I'd say these are probably around 10. But if you've been working on stuff long enough, then you know roundabout how much you're tightening things. And this is not in any danger of warping or anything, so there's no need in torquing it down to specifics, I don't think. Wait, that's the wrong way. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. So what I do is, with a small ratchet, tighten it as much as I can with one hand. I know that that's about 8 to 10 pounds of torque. And once you get it as tight as you can with one hand, then go back and give it an 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn. 1/8 feels better to me. Just a little extra snug. You see, I didn't go very far. That's it. It's good. Okay. For my next trick, walking out of the way. Kind of knock this off a little bit. Get it as dry as you can. It's not going to be perfect because this stuff is going to keep running until the cows come home. If you don't know what that means, it means forever. I don't know why. I don't ever own any cows. I just know the saying because I grew up around hillbillies. But, you know, it's not that serious, because what's going to seal this is the pressure between the bolt and the rubber gasket that's going to be smushing against this. Right. Pan goes this way. Let me check my angle. Let's see if you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, you can see close enough. Okay. This is a little tricky. Getting this gasket to lay down on this pan and stay where it's supposed to go. You could take some gasket sealer, not to seal this, but to stick it to the pan so that it'll stay in place. But I don't like to do that because this is made to be used without sealer. So what I'm going to do, if I can find my little Phillips head, I'm going to take this little Phillips head right here and line the holes up as I go here. I'm going to lock this off one more time, like it matters. It really don't, because it's going to seep out no matter what before I can get all these bolts in. Okay. Is it going thing I just noticed is these holes on this gasket are really small. Smaller than the bolts. I guess they did that on purpose so they'd be tight. That's okay. Kind of set it up in place. Now I know it's not lined up fantastic, so kind of find your hole like so. I know I'll make this look easy, and it's not as easy as it looks, but you'll get it. Alright, once you find a hole like so, grab a bolt. Oh, I just knocked you over. That's good for the shot, ain't it? Let's see if I can fix your angle now. You can see what I'm doing. Kinda. You need some more, don't you? How about now? Yeah, that works. Alright. I found that hole. Did I lose it just now when I dropped the camera? Looks like I did. Let's re-find it. Okay. There it is. I got one hole lined up. Get this bolt started. Forgot to use my trick. Now I got to get it going with my hands full. It's easiest to do this with a nut driver, which I have one, but can I reach it? Yes, I can. Okay, I'm gonna do it like this to get them started. Just makes life simpler. Now, to kind of talk you through what I've got going on here, what I'm going to do is get a few of these started. Namely, to begin with, get two corners started so that I don't have to keep holding it. That's the main idea for the time. Take your little Phillips head and kind of line it up. Get you a bolt started. What I'm getting at is you're gonna have to, whether you like it or not, you're gonna have to put these in, take them out, and put them back in. And it seems like twice the work, but it's for a reason. What I'm getting at is you have to put blue, not red, blue Loctite on all these bolts. Okay, now it will stay in place. And in order to do that, I mean, obviously you see how long it took to meticulously line up two bolts. So obviously you can't do that one bolt at a time like this. So and you got to make sure the gasket's lined up all the way around, which actually I think I got kind of lucky that time, and all the gasket holes look like they're lining up good. So when I did this on my Corolla, it was not that easy. So let me reiterate, if that's the right word. I'm not the smartest man in the world. Let's change that plan a little bit. Instead of putting these in on my Corolla, I put them all in loosely, then pulled them out one at a time, put blue Loctite on them, and put them back in one at a time all the way around. That's the way I had to do it because the gasket would not line up without doing that. And the only way to hold it in line with all the holes in it stay in the right place was to have all the bolts in it. So, but in this one, as I'm looking up through these holes, I can see that they're lining up really well. So I'm not going to have to do that this time. I got my 2 corner ones in. So now I'm going to be able to save a lot of time. I'm going to apply blue Loctite to these bolts as I'm putting them in and going around. But okay, a plan is formulating in my mind. Now I need my Loctite. It is. Should be. What it is. In here. It is not in here. Where is my blue Loctite? Oh, I know where it's at. Let me pause you while I go get it. Okay, well, my blue Loctite was in my other car, which is in the body shop. Nope. I just had to go to the store and buy some. $10. Yeah. I forgot to tell you about the one vital component that you need to do this job. Pringles. Okay. So as I'm munching on chips, let's get back on the car and get this thing rolling. Oh, let me set you back up. Maybe. Cheap little tripod. Okay. How's that? Looks like it works. All right. So, back to where I was before. Open this Loctite up. Blue Loctite, medium strength, which is what the blue is. They sell this in different strengths. The different colors are different strengths. I don't recommend using anything but blue unless you are putting a bolt in that you plan on never taking out, ever. Because red Loctite will not come loose. 9 times out of 10 you'll break the bolt before you'll get it out. That's why I use blue. And as you can see from the factory, if you look close enough, I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's what they used, blue. Okay, so let me open this. I'm gonna cut the end of it open real quick. And my trusty blade. Well, the key thing about this is it does not take much. A little drop. If I can make a little drop come out without squirting this stuff everywhere, would be nice. Maybe a little more. A little drop on it. That's all it really takes. And the way I'm going to do it this time is I'm going to put one in right next to one of the 2 that I have holding this pan in. Come on now. Get in there. So that I can pull that bolt that I already have in right next to it out and go ahead and put Loctite on it, so that I don't forget that it's not Loctited. Loctited, is that a word? Loctited? I won't forget that I haven't put Loctite on it yet. That's what I mean to say. And if you'll notice, I just tightened that as tight as I could with this driver. That's going to get us fairly close to where how tight it needs to be anyway, which I would, like I said before, I guess is about 8 pounds of torque, I would imagine. It's not much. These are easy to strip. Because like I said, aluminum is very soft. And these are very small bolts. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Remember, I had one in each corner. Oh, you know, what's been 30 minutes for me to the store and back has only been 2 seconds for you, though, so I guess I'm repeating myself for no reason, probably. But I like to keep you in mind of what I'm doing. This bolt in here. Be real careful not to cross thread these. Something in my eye, probably grease or dirt. Most likely. You know one thing. I should have grabbed a pillow to lay my head on while I do this. It would make it life a lot easier. You notice I used the same method as I did with the other bolts. Tightened as much as I could with one hand to start with. All right. Let's pause this for a second. Okay, I just paused it to go get a pillow, just like I said. It's a good thing to keep an old pillow around, because you could save your neck a lot of pain. And you could just lay down and go to work. Easy peasy. That's much better. Okay, I'm sure you're tired of watching me do this. So, you know this is going to take a while. So let me get all these bolts in and spare you the pain of watching me do it. Okay, I got all the bolts in. Save you a little bit of time watching me. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other bolts. Wherever my ratchet went, did I bury it? There it is. And like I said, tighten them with one hand, tight as you can go. Oh, let me grab an extension. Can't reach that very well. This make life a little easier. There we go. Love these extensions. They're kind of weird shape. See? That way they'll go at an angle if you need them to. Real handy. I think I left off about right here. There we go. Oh, back on there. So this is a lot of bolts. Pretty close to where I left off. So I may torque down a little more as I go. No, that's the one I left out on because I can tell because I can't tighten it. Okay, so now let's give it a extra eighth of a turn on each one of them. Now that one felt a little looser, so you kind of got to use your judgment. Because you may have to turn it a little further, but try to stick with eighth of a turn. That's the one I ended on, right? Right. Okay. torque down. Don't forget to tighten up your drain pan bolt, plug, whatever you want to call it. Don't take a whole lot, just kind of snug it up a little bit, not much. Looks pretty good. Mop it all down. I always try to wipe everything down. I don't like to leave anything greasy or dripping, for the main reason of, if it's dry after you put it back together, then as you drive the car, or next time you change the oil or whatever, and you look under here, if it's still dry, you know that it's not leaking. But if you leave it greasy and wet, then when you go to look underneath it and it's still greasy and wet, how do you know if it's leaking or not? You don't know. Okay, that's that. That is done. Let me sit up out from under here for a minute and talk to you. All right, so the rest of it's pretty straightforward. I'm sure if you took that dust shield off like I did, you can put it back. I'm not going to bother showing you putting all that back because it's not that hard, and if you took it off, you can put it back. So the rest of to do is well, I can't even talk. It takes 3.6 quarts of full synthetic. Yeah, it reads that backwards on it. Oh well. Full synthetic. I use Max Life because I like it. ATF, Dextron 6. I think that's what VI means, 6. Ain't that right? So yeah, so I'm gonna bolt this support back on and put the dust card back on, put the fluid in it, and that part is done. I'll do a video in a second on how to change the oil. Thanks guys, and remember, if I can fix it, you can fix it. Oh yeah, I always forget to add, yeah, if you like my videos, you like the work I do, please, like the video, hit the subscribe button, notifications. The more you guys do that, the better it helps me. Maybe if I get enough viewers, I can buy some better equipment and y'all can get some better videos. So I appreciate everything you do, guys. Thanks for watching. Okay, yes, I made it to the store and back, and I got my Loctite. And I took the transmission pan off and changed the filter, changed the gasket, well, I ain't put the new fluid back in yet. I drained the old fluid out. But I mean, if you'd like to watch me do that, I'm going to make a YouTube video out of it. I recorded it all because Eden at work, he asked me to do it, so to put more videos on there, me fixing stuff, because I only have one video on my channel called You Can Fix It. I'll send you a link to it so you can subscribe and watch me work on stuff if you'd like to. I mean, it might be boring to you, might not be. I don't know, you might like it. You probably will. Anything to watch me, right? Yeah, so now I gotta put this thing back together, at least this side of it, and then I can change the oil. I'll probably do a video on that too, might as well. Hey, people want to